Hello, and welcome to another edition of CareerLab. This is the CareerLab podcast that features America's career counselor, Julie LaCroix. Good morning, Julie.
Hi, Joel.
I see you're back for more excellent work, helping Americans of a variety of different stripes get their career act in order. And I know we're going to meet with some interesting adults today. So good to see you.
Thank you. Good to have you.
All right, well, let's get going. Hi, this is Joel Siegel, and you're on CareerLab. How are you today?
Hi. Good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, we are pleased to have you, and you're going to get the benefit of working with America's career counselor, Julie LaCroix, and I'll be around too to add some color, and we're going to help you with a career development issue today. So it's great to have you on the show, Andrea, and I'm going to turn this over to Julie now and kind of let her get started discussing with you some of the things that are going on in your career path, okay?
Great. Thank you.
Hi, Andrea.
Hi, Julie. Thanks for having me.
Sure. How can we help you today?
I am just trying to potentially transition from working in an industry for the last 21 years and trying to parlay the skills that I have into another career field.
Sounds like a big job. Let's do it. What are your skills?
I am very organized. I've been working in auto insurance claims for, like I said, for 21 years.
Uh-huh.
And I've worked my way all the way up, been a supervisor, I've been an auditor. I'm very organized, very, project driven. I know my stuff. I get my work done in a, pretty quick manner. And I'm able to work on my own without a lot of supervision. I worked from home remotely the last 3 years. So, and I'd like to be able to work from home again.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about why you're wanting to make this change at this time, Andrea.
I'm just kind of burnt out. It's just a lot. It's really taxing doing auto claims. It's, a lot of stress.
I'm sure it is. Yet you like the details and the administration and the responsibility of completing projects and working through them. So which part of it is burning you out? Which part are you not enjoying?
I guess I would probably say, I would say probably just like, we get a lot of demands like from attorneys, and you don't have a lot of say. Like they're kind of like, you get something like on a Friday and then they want it completed on, a very short time frame. And it's just like a lot of stress. I would just like to just kind of maybe get into something more creative. I do like to do more creative type things. Like we've, renovated our house and, like kind of Pinteresty kind of things like that. Or like I'm a very, I like to talk with people. So I'd like to kind of get into something a little bit more creative and not so adversarial, I guess.
Right.
I was going
to jump in.
Very adversarial.
Yeah, Andrea, and say it's probably the conflict. I mean, the auto insurance business is really a high conflict business, and not only getting in contact with lawyers, but just the adjudication of claims, the payments. It's a very high stress and very high conflict industry. So it sounds like you're really wanting to move away from that, where that level of conflagration and conflict isn't a part of your daily routine. Would that be right?
Right. Exactly. Yes.
And usually when somebody has a successful career over a 20-year period and finds themselves at a place of burnout, it's largely in part due to a lack of activating a creative skill set that is laying dormant and underdeveloped. And that's exactly what you stated. I had already written that down on my notepad, that we need to remove this woman out of the stressful situation and into more of a creative and collaborative and people-oriented situation. So what ideas do you have? I certainly can think of some, and I'd be happy to share those with you, but I'd like to know what your thoughts are.
Well, I had like before I had actually had a friend who's, I met through my kids at school, and she had a hotel sales manager position that she was like trying to move me into. And just because of different staffing issues, I wasn't able to move over there at the time that she was offering it to me. But I guess, I've also thought about being like an administrative assistant or like an executive assistant or a personal like assistant type person because of my organizational skill set and that type of thing. That's why I'm kind of stalled out. And I also, just so you know, we kind of have the component in my family of like, I have to be bringing in a certain amount of money just because of where our budgeting is.
Okay.
So that's also been kind of a little bit of a
Are you at liberty to tell me generally what your salary range is so I can get a general feel for it?
Yeah, I'm at 80 right now.
Okay. So that's not going to be that hard to recreate with your level of responsibility and skill set. And you're very, and you're very close with your ideas, but let's see if we can get those on target just a little bit closer. So, working in a more creative environment that's a more physical environment. It sounds like you like a tactile. You've renovated homes. You like Pinterest. That's visual. That's sensory work. It sounds like you enjoy being where there is physical activity. Is that fair to say? Like you probably craft. Is that fair to say?
I do. Yes, you're correct. Yes.
Okay. So we need to get you in a physical environment. Have you ever thought about working for, say, let's just throw out a couple of ideas, a construction management company, a landscape design, an architectural design, a city planning, an urban planning, anything where design and projects and administration also come into play, where they go hand in hand?
Yeah, I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah, so I would think that a project coordinator or a project administrator taking your core administration skills without dialing them back into an executive assistant role, but to actually be in, because you can work with technical information. You have a history of working with legal and technical information. So that proves to any employer that you have the aptitude for developing technical knowledge and technical vocabulary of their field. So I would pick a field of interest and I would put all of your administrative skills together in a bundle of administrative processes and procedures, responsibility, responsiveness, legal communication, technical communication, scheduling, timelines, detail orientation, managing budgets if that's been a part of it, and then infuse that into a job title that is called project administrator or project coordinator, senior project administrator, senior project coordinator, because that's going to indicate to them that you have the skills that they need. They are the transferable skills. And then these are going to be the categories of work that I just laid out to you, those 4 or 5. Those are all creative people who are also very technical. And you're working in a technical environment where there's not the creative people. So that would be the shift. It's just simply moving into a world where the projects are based on creativity.
How does that sound to you?
Okay, that was, you just kind of like don't really know where to go with.
Well, Julie's helped you sort of
with my skills. Yes,
right.
That really helped.
Kind of reconceptualize and coalesce your skills into kind of a different job title and description, which is really wonderful because it could allow you to really step into a role that's actually a little bit different than what you've been doing. So that's, Julie, I think the brilliance of what you've just given, Andrea. I'd also like to say too that even if you did stay in the world of administrative assistant, which you certainly have all the skills for, you could look to choose an industry that would be the opposite of the auto insurance industry, an industry where creativity would be what was the primary product and creatives were the primary types working there, because that would give you a very different environment in which to work in and a very different set of dynamics than the ones you've been experiencing. So those are a couple of options. How do you feel about those?
Oh, that's great. I think that's a good jumping off point for me to start, like Julie was saying, getting my skills into groupings and start focusing them towards that job description.
If you go to CareerLabNow.com and print off and download the first step, which is assessment, I have a list of a lot of different skills in there that might be helpful for you so that you don't feel like you have to recreate the wheel. Another way you could do this is you could just go look at a large builder, a large home builder, a large urban planner, a large landscape designer, architectural design company, and go to their intranet, their internal careers page, and look for project administrators, project coordinators, and print that off, and with a yellow highlighter pen, start highlighting the skills that they are looking for that you also have. That might be one way to compile your skill set list, and so that you have the vocabulary that you need to construct your resume. And,
that's a great option.
Yeah. And if we were in a private career counseling session, we would right now absolutely be talking about what do you look at on Pinterest as categories of potential work. So if you are doing costumes, if you are doing landscape, if you are doing crafts, if you are doing children, if you are doing events, that's something you should really do a deep dive on thinking about is what are my real creative interests? If I were to have a dream job, what would it be? And maybe select
interior design.
Interior design. Very good. Okay. So again, a large interior designer, an architectural designer, that's going to put you right in those conversations. And so, even in construction and even in landscape design, that's still going to cozy you right up to the interior design world because it all comes down to building the exterior for the interior. So I think that if that's your major area of focus, you should just start building a concentric circle around that of the related industries, and don't, of course, do a straight shot into interior design. But there are other vendors that are in and around that sector that might also feel creative for you.
It's interesting, Andrea, that you said interior design, because that's kind of what I was thinking when I said a little more creative. And I feel like the pulse of work and the type of work in that area in interior design firms is different, very, very different from what you're doing now. And I think that would be good.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I wouldn't limit yourself. I mean, in terms of being creative and moving away from the type of companies that have high stress, high demand, very challenging metrics to deal with, I think you would want to look at potentially something else. There's a lot of young companies that are starting up in very creative segments that really need competent administrators and really competent project managers and really competent executive assistants. I know a lot of companies for whom that's a big need and they don't fill it. So I think there could be some potential for you to go in that context. And we wanted to recognize your need for income. So you might not find your dream job immediately, but you might start with something that's halfway down the road and then be able to move on.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't have to.
Thank you. This is really.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome.
Me in a good spot. Yeah.
Yeah, and remember what Joel said too, because a career develops. That's why we call it career development. Your perfect job may not be your next job. So in your case, taking one step in the right direction, taking those transferable skills, moving into a more creative environment, and then maybe eventually planting yourself directly into interior design. That could be the right path. You're going to have to estimate and attempt. And I hope that it finds you in a happier place.
Great. I really appreciate this. This has been very productive for me. Thank you.
I'm so glad. Well, we really want you to succeed. And again, I think if I can just add one final comment, I think a little bit softer environment for you professionally than the auto insurance sector will also really work. I think you need to work with people that have a little more creative and softer orientation towards their work, whatever field it is, because you seem like it seems to me that would be very, very a good fit for you. So we're happy to have been able to have you on the show, and we hope to be able to check back in with you, Andrea, and see how you're doing. Would that be okay?
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining Julie on CareerLab.
Thank you. And thank you, Julie.
You're welcome.
Take care, Andrea.
Bye-bye. All right.
Well, Julie, it was great to meet with Andrea. What do you think about what was going on in her situation?
I think she needs a long vacation from all of those attorneys and auto people, and that's just far away from what her core personality and her core temperament is all about. What a sweetheart of a gal. Can you imagine her working in a contentious environment of creative people where it's all about, are we going to do these colors or these designs? And those are the types of problems conflicts that she could walk right into and create peace and balance and use those conflict management skills in such a happy way, in a way that really made her feel like she was solving a real problem that she cared about.
Yeah, that's very perceptive. I wanted to stop and that's a very perceptive thought. I completely agree. I also feel like she's been battered by conflict, and she's got that quality to her. People who work in very conflictive environments, especially if they're women and especially if they're working with men, we just have to talk about this, can feel like they're really sort of battered by conflict. And I got that feeling from her. And that's why I was trying to recommend that she do something that's more creative, softer, something where she'll have a different interpersonal experience.
I will say that I am so glad that she hasn't lost that piece of her that is creative, and that she has used her hobby category of pursuits to keep that flame alive. And I hope that we lit that fire a little bit larger for her.
That was so cool. How did you know that she was a crafter, huh? I was thinking, now, how did Julie know that? That's really magic.
Joel, they're all the same. There's a type.
Okay. I'm not a crafter, no, but I do other things well. All right, well, listen, this has been great, and we are going to wrap up this segment of Career Lab. We look forward to you all joining us very soon. We'll have another interesting discussion. Take care.
If you'd like to be a guest on Career Lab, send me an email. Visit CareerLabNow.com. While you're there, download my proven curriculum with over 200 entry-level job titles, samples of resumes which have snagged my clients the interviews they want, and a job search strategy that will work for all junior professionals like you. Visit CareerLabNow.com. CareerLabNow.com.